Shalom Aleichem, everybody. Hope all is well. A great question that we hear a lot that we'll try to get into today is, when will the third temple be officially built? When will this happen? When, in terms of how will it play out in terms of the coming of Mashiach? At what point? And where are we standing right now? So, first of all, the building of the third temple is something that will be a major development in the Messianic era. That we know that the third temple is a building that is not just a building; it is the sanctuary. It is the Hamikdash, as we say in the Holy Tongue, which means the house of the sanctuary of the dwelling. It's basically where God reveals Himself to the world. It's where God dwells. We know that God is. There's nothing else besides God, but the Beis Hamikdash is where it is most apparent, where it is most felt that there's nothing else but God, where the God's light literally is tangible, is experienced within the temple. So this will be a major development within the Messianic era. To explain how this will play out in terms of the coming of Mashiach, it's a bit complicated, but bear with me. We'll understand it. You'll understand it with a bit of focus. The Mashiach will build the third temple, and we'll get into the details of that. But the building of the temple is a part of the confirmation of Mashiach being officially crowned as Mashiach. Will be the official point where, it is confirmed that that Mashiach has already been officially declared Mashiach. So this means that Mashiach will be here before the third temple is built, but when he builds the temple, that will confirm that he is bevadai Mashiach, that he is, and not just that he's for sure Mashiach. He could be confirmed Mashiach before, the world could recognize this person as their Mashiach before the temple's built. But a official declaration that he's already acting as Mashiach, so to speak. This is kind of complicated, but this is all from the Rambam. The Rambam explains that if a person who has to be very very detailed in his knowledge of Torah, has to be very meticulous to fulfill the mitzvahs, he will fight the wars of Hashem. He'll be like David HaMelech, he'll build the temple in its place. Then you'll know he's Mashiach. So the building of the temple is one of the details, one of the points where that confirms him as being declared Mashiach. Now we know that it could be that Mashiach, the Rebbe explains that Mashiach at some points of his life doesn't know he's Mashiach. At a certain point, the Mashiach gets told by Hashem that he's Mashiach, and he acknowledges it within himself, which obviously is with full humility. The Mashiach will be humble like Moshe Rabbeinu, will be the epitome of the epitome of humble. But part of being humble is also recognizing what job you have, and the Mashiach will recognize his abilities as well, because it's coming from Hashem. And there will be a point where the world will recognize Mashiach as their leader. But there's a difference between every generation has a Mashiach of the generation, and then there's a point where the generation enters the days of Mashiach. So every generation has a Mashiach, but in the Messianic era, when Mashiach comes, what does it mean? There's always a Mashiach, a person who's ready to be Mashiach in that generation. But the thing is when the Mashiach comes, when we enter the days of Mashiach, it will be the generation will merit it, and this person will be declared as the King Mashiach. Not just the Mashiach of the generation, but the generation has entered the days of Mashiach, that it's been official. So part of that development will be with the third temple. So that's something to think about. So just to organize our thoughts, and we know that it will be a major development in the coming of Mashiach, because already there's going to be peace in the world. There's going to be the ingathering and the exiles. There's going to be a lot of developments simultaneously taking place. There's going to be no more wars. There's going to be end to all suffering and illnesses and jealousy, and there'll be a knowledge of Hashem throughout the world. Everyone will recognize Hashem as King. And the Mashiach himself will teach the deepest secrets of Torah. So there's two major aspects, and even more so, and there's many more so, but there's two categories I want to speak about that will connect the world to Hashem. Two ways that Hashem will reveal himself to the people. One is the Mashiach will teach the deepest secrets of Torah, will be a prophet like Moses. He'll teach people to be prophets. The Mashiach will make people prophets with his teachings. They'll be able to experience God, able to talk to God, to hear God speaking to them through his teachings. He'll refine them so much with his teachings, they'll become at such masters of Torah that they'll be able to experience God at every moment. And then that's one. And then two, the temple will be built. So the temple also will be like a pipeline and like a vessel of godly light shining into the world at every point. Because the base of the temple is the connection piece between heaven and earth. It's where God reveals himself to the world. So when the third temple will be built, there'll be godly light pumping into the world at every moment, literally. Infinite godly light pumping into the finite world. We'll be experiencing infinite through the lens of the finite. There's also going to be many miracles, the peace in the world. And then there's going to be a later development later on in the Messianic era where there'll be the resurrection of the dead, and that will cause us to experience an even greater level of godliness. It's important to note that there's many developments. So the third temple, something that Mashiach, it says that Mashiach coming will be something that, the Gemara explains, it will shock us. Like three types of things that shock us to our core, that surprise us completely. One, winning the lottery. Two, getting bitten by a poisonous snake. And three, the coming of Mashiach. All three of these things, they catch you completely off guard. So the coming of Mashiach will catch us completely off guard. So that means that the building of the temple could happen very, very quickly. It could be that Mashiach, will come, and then immediately the temple can be revealed, because it's important to note that the Rebbe explains the Gemara has two opinions. Will the temple be built down here on earth, or will it be built up in heaven? Up in heaven or down here on earth? What's going on? The Rebbe explains it's not a contradiction. It can have aspects of both. It could be that a lot of it will be built up in heaven. But the Mashiach will finish the job down here and put the doors in here on earth. And we learn there's a concept in Torah that when you finish the job, it's as if you did the entire job. So that it fulfills both sides. That it was built, a lot of it on heaven. The Mashiach finished the job down here on earth, and then it fulfills both opinions. So it's not a contradiction. It's aspects of both. So may we experience this today. And this is waiting for us, guys. Let's get excited. Let's share this message. This is something really to take into our hearts and to experience this now, that Hashem is here right now, and there's the Holy of Holies within our hearts, and Hashem dwells within our hearts. When we make our bodies holy, when we sanctify ourselves, we do Hashem's will, Hashem dwells in us as well, not just in the temple, but within each and every one of us. Each and every one of us. So that's how we do it. Let's get ready. Let's bring Mashiach, guys. Let's spread this message. You can like, comment, share, subscribe. You can support us. You can help expand and spread forth this message. May Hashem bless you all. May we experience this all today.